Okay, aloha. My name is Bumpy Kanahele. I'm running for the Office of Hawaiian Affairs, Trustee at Large. I'm going to hit upon some points on my platform. The first one is political conditions or political programs. Being that we're faced with political status and self-governance, my approach to this is that we have a free, fair, and impartial process at which the Hawaiian people can debate amongst themselves. Yeah, I believe that that the Hawaiian people would need a free, fair, and impartial process to debate amongst themselves as to the different types of models of self-governance. And that has never happened. That has never happened to where we actually had a free, fair, and impartial process without intimidation. And so I believe that's a key component to our success in determining for ourselves the type of model of self-governance we want. I believe that any legislation from the city, state, or federal level would usurp the very foundation, the very spirit of self-determination under international law. And with that, it's a very simple, basic program that I have set up for my platform. That leads to the next category, which is economic conditions, economic programs. The economic platform that I have is real simple. It's that Native Hawaiians would need to own their own bank. By that I mean that for those that don't know about banking, capital leverage formula. Banks have a 10-to-1 capital leverage formula that they utilize, which basically means for every dollar of private public funds put in the bank has a leverage or 10-to-1 leverage, which makes it every dollar times 10 equals $10 of leverage the bank gets to use to lend and invest in the community. And when you find out that if Hawaiians have $7 billion of cash assets in some bank, whether it be whatever the local banks here, that's $70 billion of leverage that bank or banks have to lend and invest in the community. Hawaiians total at least $10 billion total assets, cash assets, from all their agencies, Kamehameha Schools, OHA, Hawaiian Homes, QLCC, Lunalilo Homes. But those leverages are not beneficial really to the Hawaiian people. Why? Because they're not owners of these banks. And I believe the ownership component to a financial institution, at least 51% controlled by Native Hawaiians as owners, would be very beneficial. Now, I've hit just certain points on the banking side, but it leads to the solutions for the social conditions in the Native Hawaiian community. Homeless, houseless, we're talking about housing, health, housing, education, employment. A lot of these things would basically be a positive multiplier effect should we own our own bank. Several ways would be in housing, affordable housing, or housing on Hawaiian homelands. Most people don't qualify, so therefore they get put on the list of waiting for another time to be called upon. And a financial institution owned by the people could actually provide financial products to fit that Hawaiian family or that Hawaiian individual that would want a house on Hawaiian homestead lands. I think the prices, the cost of living has been driven up so high right now. Inflation is driven up so high that it's pretty much the rich get richer, and that's the only ones that can live in the islands. So and then there's been a resurgence in our cultural level, cultural programs. The Hawaiian language has been very, very productive in the last 20-30 years. It's starting to get a resurgence in that area. Culture and the arts, our traditions, A lot of things when I was a small kid, I don't remember hearing so much about taro patches and lo'ie and all those things. And it's like it's becoming a way of life. I told my grandchildren that the language is not to make a business out of it once you learn, but it's a way of life for us. And it's just bringing our Hawaiian language back into the household. But I think this boils down to exploitation of our culture in those areas as well. It's been done in our music, it's been done in our language, it's being done in our arts and crafts, our cultural arts and crafts now. And I think, what do they call it now? Identity theft. No. I think it's
cultural identity,
intellectual property. Those things are starting to come up on a rise, which basically leads to what you're talking about. That we should be, or at least Rocky Fuse. That's right. We should claim and like our recording, or somebody that creates a song that is protected by ASCAP and BMI. But yeah, there's a lot of avenues that would branch off from what I believe the bank could do to protect us that way. Economic power is so powerful, we're yet to imagine. Just talking about it, I get all goosebumps and chicken skin. But when we actually move on and start to do the things that we believe can be done, I think the world is going to know peace yet. We had some Pu'uhonua here that was talking about world peace and this and that. And I think it's very, very important that that we continue to keep it peaceful and non-violent. We're the only peaceful, non-violent movement for political rights in the world right now. Any other country would be in war or some kind of terrorist act would be committed, or that's what they would label us if there was any violence involved in this. And so I can truly say that we've kept the peace, like our queen kept the peace, and I'm proud of them. In the cultural category of the bank, right now the bank supports and supplies revenues to Aloha Week Parade, festivals, the Merry Monarch, the Molokai Hoi, and many other different things. But this is one thing that I believe that if done right, it depends on the SEC laws in banking. But if banks can promote these things to help functions and parades and so forth, I think we could also figure out how we could create some kind of committee, commission, or council that would basically work on trying to protect the rights of the artists, their talents and so forth. But the other thing we face with is the different types of artists too as well, because you have different, like the movement, like the sovereignty movement. Many nations, many kingdoms, many kings and queens, different organizations. You have the same thing going on with artisans as well. And so it's, who's got the right story now? When you look at it that way, and I can clearly say that, there's no one expert in any of our history, because there's many different viewpoints. And I think the first thing is to get all these different viewpoints together so we get the right story, whether we came from Tahiti, the Marquesas, Samoa, or what have you. I've never believed that we came from any place, that we were always here and we never left. If we did, we went around Pacific Ocean and came back. I've always believed that.
So do you foresee some sort of a push in education as far as like creation and publication and dissemination of like books or videos, DVDs, things like that?
I think there's a lot of that as well. There's a lot of stuff coming out of Hawaii. From all these different artists, Herb Kane got one, Rocky got one. What's the right one? Because everybody's got their own history that they go back to. And so, okay, who's telling us the right thing, right?
Yeah.
See, that's the thing we got to get over before we go back and actually, unravel where we really come from, or what was really, if Paha was the tiki, then Hawaiian.
Pardon me?
When Paha came from Tahiti,
Right.
and he did his stand over here, that's when the first idols came in, apparently.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then what is ours? Who's to say that Rocky or Ipunihi Pali or whatever? Who's to say that? I think a lot is spiritually guided things, and I believe that a lot of these artisans come from that space. A lot do research and stuff, but depending on research, I cannot say. It's kind of like the information that we get on a sovereignty move. It's just a different category, right? You got political, economic, social, culture, and we're divided in every area.
What is the answer to that division, that disparity in perspective?
I think just our learning, our teachers of the past. Rocky learned from somebody, or some people just get it because they're naturally like that.
Do you see it ever coming to a cohesive togetherness?
I believe that can come together, and I believe that it's going to come together because, like the sovereignty issues, we got to put our differences aside. So the artisans would have to put their differences aside and come to one cohesive thing, and one by one see which is the priority and what we agree upon. At every level, like I said, political, economic, social, culture, there's a degree or a level that we all at. Of course, there's a lot of things that can happen that we agree upon, and we got to start with that.
So can you synthesize in like a few sentences how you're different than the other candidates, or what you want to push home and what you want to bring about?
Yeah, I think I've hit upon the economic independence point. That with economic independence, with high capacity to control and manage our own assets, that's the key. Because that leads to social, cultural success as well as political success as well. Economy drives everything and anything.
People come together as one for future generations under the sun.